Hello and welcome to Changeling, a visual novel developed by Steamberry Studios. As you can tell by the title, it's a fantasy visual novel in which we play the main character, that's here, and these characters in the backgrounds are the love interests that we can choose from. I don't want to go into too much about the game, like I've played 2 of the characters through it so far, but I don't want to spoil anything else, so with that said, I'm just gonna dive right in. Yeah, we're gonna stick with the name Nora Lewis. And now the story begins. Nora Lewis. It's gonna be a lot of reading. Oh my gosh, okay. Because this one, there's no voice acting. When I was little, I dreamed of being carried away to a far-off land. It was a recurring dream of flying through the air, surrounded by softly singing voices. Back then, I read book after book of old fairy tales in my grandmother's study, the kind where good children didn't always make it out of the dark swamp unscathed, and sometimes the goblins won. During the day, I would run through the forest by our house and pretend the stories were real. Every tree was a sentinel watching over me, and rustling leaves were the sweet whispers of fairies coaxing me further and further from the house. Then it all crumbled. The trees and games had to be left behind. Books were left to gather dust on shelves, and dreams were left to fade into memory. Years passed, and all that remained were the distant games, the pretend play of childhood. Back then, I didn't know that real fairy tales were darker than anything I could possibly have dreamed up on my own. Chapter 1: The Common Route Homecoming. We had nearly reached the new house. I was eager to get out of this cramped car and see the new place. The long road trip wasn't agreeing with me, but I couldn't complain too much. After 5 years in a city I hated, we were finally moving back to Pine Hollow, the place where I grew up. That alone was enough to keep my sanity intact during the tense trip back. Unfortunately, the reason behind the move wasn't fantastic. Grandpa was ill again, and this time was under strict orders to take it easy. Since he had to avoid stress, he needed Dad's help with his business. Of course he didn't think so, but Grandma was adamant, get help or retire. So we were on our way back so Dad could take over, in theory anyway, not that Grandpa will let him. In any case, Dad wasn't too happy about leaving his current job or our house in the city behind, much less moving back across state lines to our previous home. I was, though. I missed Grandma and Grandpa. I missed the trees and the looming embrace of the mountains that made Pine Hollow feel enclosed and protected. I missed my best friend. What I wouldn't miss was the stifling humidity of the city, the constant smell of hot rubber and car exhaust, not to mention the lack of stars and the way rain made everything smell like rust instead of warm earth. It wasn't all terrible. The parks were pretty, and being nearer to the water had been fun. School had been awful. I was hardly the loner girl skulking in the corners. I'd had friends, and I would miss them, but Allie wasn't just a friend. She was practically family. No one in the city could compare with that. And the city never felt like home. I smiled slightly as the scenery beyond the car windows became more and more familiar. My tiredness faded to excitement. Oh no. Good old Spencer. Oh, good old Spencer. Troublemaker, as you'll find out soon enough. Oh god, okay, I'm not a fantastic voice actor at all. I have 0 skills whatsoever. So me attempting different male voice is going to put a lot of strain on my throat. And they might sound the same. Just throwing that out there. I'm not even showing my face, but the idea of having to do a voice is just making me nervous already. Like, oh god, I haven't prepared for this. Oh god, I don't know what kind of voice to give him, because from playing the other 2 routes, I don't like him at all. He's not likable. He doesn't make it easy to be likable. So honestly, I'm just here, do I want to be serious with this, or do I just want to give him an annoying, douchey kind of voice, because that's just how he is. Okay, whatever. I'm stalling at this point. Okay. This new house isn't that far from the old one, is it? I don't care. That's the voice he's going with. I don't like his character. He's just gonna stick with that. They're only a few miles apart. This one's in a different neighborhood, though. Oh, jeez.
Lots of trees, very wooded. I think you two will really like it after we get settled in.
Dad said that, but from the look on Spencer's face, I didn't think it was true. Not for him, anyway. Dad pointed to a small forested mountain a few miles ahead.
The neighborhood is nestled right at the foot there and winds up the slope. It feels rural, but it's within walking distance of the town square.
I was glad that it didn't look like much development had happened in the years we'd been gone. In fact, it didn't look like much had changed at all. So much forest, I almost forgot what it was like. It looks easy to get lost in. I gave him a sharp look, and found him staring at me in that disquieting way he'd picked up over the last few years. Look at his face. He's just not having any of it, even though he's the one picking it. Exactly, Nora, how I feel. I'm just like, ugh, tired of him already. He was already trying to start a fight about that. I quickly looked away, unwilling to give him the satisfaction. Another thing I missed was me and Spencer being close, like everyone seemed to think twins ought to be. But I didn't think that was just moving. I don't know how to read. But I didn't think that just moving back to Pine Hollow was going to fix that, though. Not with jabs like that aimed at me. Let it go already. No one is going to get lost. And I want you both to give me your word so you'll be careful in the forest. I don't want to have to ban you from hiking. I don't know how to do a mother's voice. I hope that was decent enough. And now Mom was starting too. I slumped back in the seat, watching the kaleidoscope of fall colors slide past. This is why I'm not a voice actor. I can't read. I had expected that issue to be brought up now that we were moving back, but I hadn't expected to start getting lectured before we even reached the new house.
Realtor said there are trails.
But you know that probably means animal trials, not actual hiking trials. It can be dangerous if you aren't careful. We're not little kids anymore.
There are lots of coyotes here, and cougars, even bears. There's also a pretty deep ravine in the woods behind the house from what I understand.
We just want to make sure everyone stays safe. Now that we're back, we don't want... Jeez, it's been 5 years. I couldn't entirely blame everyone for their uneasiness about the whole thing. The disappearance 5 years ago. My disappearance 5 years ago was the reason we moved in the first place. Not just the disappearance itself, though. I'd been gone for more than a week, and that had definitely caused some drama. But there was the issue of how I just showed back up, and the other things that happened around that time. 5 years later, and my family was still shadowed by the repercussions of what had happened back then. Of course, I wanted them to move on. Everything back then had been my fault. Not just the drama the family had endured as a whole, but also what happened to Spencer. Those weren't wounds that could just heal overnight. Not the emotional ones, not the physical ones, and definitely not the one inflicted on our relationship. And no amount of apologizing had ever helped. Dad turned onto a quiet street that wound its way up into the trees. A few rooftops poked through the foliage. It was a great neighborhood that reminded me a little of where we'd lived before. The sweetness of nostalgia helped wash away some of the lingering bitterness from the previous conversation. I loved the place from the moment we turned onto the street and passed over a trickling creek that vanished into the woods. Down at the foot of the mountain and within walking distance of the houses was the main street of the town, filled with little shops and restaurants, but the neighborhood hidden behind a thick wall of trees and curled around the mountainside felt secluded and quiet. It was beautiful and perfect. Nora, go check the boxes up in your room to make sure they put the right ones there. I'll let you unpack your things first, then I want you downstairs to help in the kitchen.
Spencer, same for you.
Movers had already arranged most of the furniture in the house under Grandma's supervision, but the boxes with the smaller items and personal belongings still needed unpacking. Since she had to take care of Grandpa, Grandma couldn't do much more than tell them where to put the furniture and try to get the basics set up for us. We still had a ton of work to do. Mom immediately busied herself trying to hang curtains and make the house look lived in. Dad started ripping into the boxes in the family room. Spencer vanished upstairs. I left Mom in the kitchen and went to take a look at the rest of the downstairs. This house is really great. I'm glad you like it, honey. It wasn't new, but had been renovated inside. It looked modern and new, but still felt old and full of memories and someone else's history. I love it already. What even was I trying to say? Fuck, I did it again! My bedroom was right next to Spencer's! The only thing separating them was a small shared bathroom that was going to be so much fun. He tended to act like any intrusion into his personal space was a huge affront, so I had to walk on eggshells if I didn't want to fight with him. I could only begin to imagine his whining about having to share another counter space with all my icky girl things like hairbrush and hand lotion. Oh, the horror. I love her face. She's like, oh no, hand lotion, ew. That aside, my room was pretty nice. It looks nice. She has like a nice corner there where she could paint. And then like room stuff here for like posters. Or like for her to hang up her own paintings if she wants. It was bright and airy and I loved seeing my things already put exactly where I'd have put them anyway. It looks like Grandma even got my bed ready. All I had to do was unpack the rest of my personal stuff. I started with my school things, pulling the tape off one box to get at what was inside. Suddenly the door to my side of the bathroom burst open. Spencer stalked in, dropping a dusty box on my clean bedspread. He could have at least knocked. Give me one of yours. Don't pick a fight. Just stay calm. I moved the box to the floor without saying anything. Spencer started to leave. Hang on, let me make sure I don't have any of yours. Hopefully he didn't make a habit of bursting in. Being my twin brother didn't mean he got to invade my privacy whenever he wanted. Especially since he'd have an aneurysm if I had slammed into his room that way. I quickly sorted through the boxes to see if any of his were lurking in my room. Sure enough, I found one with his name clearly scrawled on the top. Here, I think this one has some of your clothes. I nudged the box toward him with my foot. Just like, here, take it. I don't want to touch it. He scowled at me before picking it up and stalking back to his room. Jeez. See, this is what I mean. Like, that's his attitude. It doesn't get better. Trust me, I've played 2 routes so far. He don't get better. Or maybe he does. Stick around and find out. Or just play it yourself. Whichever. The door on his side of the bathroom slammed shut. Yeah, you're welcome. It felt like every interaction with him was like that lately. It was worse than ever, actually. But then he wasn't likely to forget his negative memories of Pine Hollow soon, and I was pretty sure he was just annoyed by the fact that I was happy to be back, which meant taking it out on me, of course. He never loved this place the way I had anyway, so he wasn't really inclined to overlook the bad memories in the first place. I sighed and continued pulling things out of the boxes. Patience. It was just hard to have all this stuff stirred up again. I mean, even if I accepted responsibility for what happened back then, I didn't think it meant I also had to sentence myself to guilt and misery forever. Not for something that had happened when I was 12, something I couldn't even remember. I left my boxes on the floor and went to peer out the window. I pressed my head against the glass, watching the trees sway slightly in the fall breeze. It was probably stupid to say I felt more complete in this town. At a glance, it looked like dozens of others you could find scattered through the area. It was beautiful and sunny sometimes, and others it was really eerie. There were days when the clouds hung low or over the mountains. The fog was super thick through the trees, and you could almost imagine it was haunted. The truth was that I felt I'd lost something in this place 5 years ago. Maybe I was only happy to be here because I felt that now I had the chance to get it back. I left the window and went back to unpacking before Mom started yelling at me to come join the battle of bubble wrapping the kitchenware. In any case, I was being annoyingly sentimental. Pine Hollow was special to me, maybe, but it wasn't special in general. It was one of those little towns with more urban legends than any reasonable person could count. Hundreds of stories about creepy happenings in the woods, and for every one of them, no matter how unlikely, there were dozens of people willing to believe it. That's probably why people were so quick to leap on the oddities of my disappearances. They weren't really even that odd, at least I didn't think so. The rational public wrote them off as strange but explainable. I got lost, then got unlost. Big deal. Though to be fair, the first time it happened, I was 9, and when I got unlost, I was also unhurt, even after 10 days in the woods alone. It was definitely lucky I got home safely. It wasn't supernatural, not like some people apparently insisted. It was just the amnesia that caught people off guard, I think. I couldn't remember a thing that happened while I was missing. I still couldn't. But psychogenic amnesia was a thing. What kid would want to remember being terrified in the woods for a week and a half? Not me, clearly. I started filling my closet with clothes and carefully lined up my shoes and boots. I should totally get a new pair to celebrate being home. I left the closet and began arranging my study things on the desk. We'd be starting God, why am I horrible at reading? We'd be starting back to school on Monday after an inevitably busy weekend. The same private school we'd gone to before we left. That was the only thing I had mixed feelings about. There had just been such a fuss about my last disappearance, the one when I was 12. That one had been the real catalyst for everything. That had been when everything just broke. I had been missing for nearly 2 full weeks. The newspapers were running dramatic and hopeless stories. There was speculation about whether I was a runaway or if it was a ploy for attention. After all, it had happened to me before. What? How boring is the town that everyone thinks, oh yeah, this kid ran away. She just wanted attention. Like, must be a pretty boring town for people to not take it seriously and just think that it's all for attention and not really be like, oh, second time she ran away. You think maybe there's something going on with her family that she's trying to run away from? You know, just like, instead of brushing it off as, oh, kids being kids, wanting attention. There were search parties out looking, my God, I swear to God if I keep stumbling! There were search parties out every day looking for any sign of me. My parents were heartbroken. Again. Spencer was out with a search party one evening and got separated from them. They heard his scream and feared the worst, but he ran out of the woods a short time later in hysterics, clutching at one of his eyes. Then I walked out after him in a daze but unharmed. They never found anything wrong with his eye. He lost the vision in it, but no one knew the reason. He was saying a lot of crazy things at the time. No one knew if he'd hit his head or had maybe gotten attacked by a stray cougar. And again, I didn't remember anything. Just not what I said, but whatever. There was a lot of public interest in the incident due to the fact that it was the second one involving our family, and me specifically. People loved mysteries, and I had given them one. If I wasn't making it up, and I wasn't, then what sort of trauma could give me amnesia twice? No one could do anything but speculate endlessly. My family tried to just get on with life, but it hadn't been easy, more like impossible. There had just been too much stupid speculation and skepticism. At school there were rumors that we both done the whole thing for attention and Spencer's injury was fake, that he had a psychotic episode and tried to kill me. It was a mess. And so we just left. Ugh, why am I even thinking about this again? I shook off all those old negative thoughts. It was years ago. People had forgotten. Everything was going to be fine. I stacked the empty boxes off to the side. On the opposite side of the room, I set up my painting things. The cabinet for my art supplies was nearby, and I quickly stacked everything inside. The sunny room was going to be perfect for painting. It even faced north. I love that they remember that when they picked this room for me. Nora, are you finished yet? I'm nearly done. Give me a few more minutes. I feel like I keep changing the mom's voice, but I'm also trying to be, like sound more like a mom, you know, like have like that typical mom voice. Oh, dearie, you want some cookie? I don't know, like some kind of voice. Because also I was like, I don't want the mom to sound like Nora. So it's just like, ah, how do I sound like an older woman? I don't know. I turned my attention to my small library of old books. I had all the classics, all used and worn and beautiful, and of course there were lots of Shakespeare. It only took a few minutes to get the books on the shelves. I tried to organize them properly tomorrow. Once I was finished unpacking, I gave my room a satisfied once-over before heading downstairs to help my mom unpack in the kitchen. What should I do with the boxes in my room? We'll have to figure out what the recycling pickup schedule is so we can crush them and set them out. For now, just leave them. Okay. Meanwhile, can you set these out on the back porch? She motioned to a few large empty flower pots near the table. No problem. And when you're back, I have a few things for you to take to the basement. Yay. I love the exchange. Also, the art is very beautiful. Like, it's really pretty and, like, not the typical, like, anime. It's very, like, I want to say, like, it's a kind of like a semi-realism style going on. It's really nice. I love it. It's really nice. Come on, hurry it up. Hey, Captain. I hefted the stack of pots and managed to wobble my way to the back door with them. Navigating the door handle was a bit interesting, but I managed to get outside without breaking anything. I set them down near one of the brick columns and looked across an overgrown backyard. Something interesting caught my eye and I hopped off the porch to go investigate. At the back, in a little hollowed-out area near the fence, was a large ring of white mushrooms with round caps. A fairy ring! I smiled as I crushed down and poked one of them. We'd had one at our last house, too. Dad had tried everything to get rid of it, but it was very persistent. No matter what he treated it with, it always came back. He wouldn't be happy about it for some reason. I liked having it there. Oh my god, like, see, look how beautiful this is. I smiled slightly, remembering playing with Spencer in our previous backyard. We'd played tag, and whoever made it inside the circle first would be safe. Or we lie inside it and pretend we could see the fairies dancing on the mushroom tops or playing in the tree branches. I took a long, deep breath. I'm so glad to be back. What are you doing out here? I sighed and stood carefully brushing off my jeans. Why does he always have to sound so angry? Mom has work for you to do, you know. If you have time between daydreaming and communing with nature. Is it possible for you to speak to me like I'm a human being? It would be if I was sure you were a human being. I'm not even gonna bother me. I like the voice. But I'm not gonna bother making it sound boyish because I don't know if I could do that. I hated the way he always said things like that with a completely straight face. Look at him. He looks dead inside. Haha, very amusing. I assure you that sisters are indeed human. Brothers, however, I'm not sure. Normally one would assume he hadn't meant it literally, but I could never tell with him. Just get back inside! As he turned away, he snapped a foot out, kicking over a few of the mushrooms. Do we want to stay calm or get angry? Do we want to stoop to his level? Or do we want to be the mature one? Just be the mature one. He could have his fits. Why do you always try to ruin things just because I like them? I wanted to get angry, but then we just fight, and I didn't want to fight with him anymore. It took all my self-control to swallow down the irritation. I stared at the broken fairy ring and bit my lower lip. You know, in stories, fairies tend to get pretty ticked off if you mess with their stuff. His face, he's just like, oh no. A strange look passed over his face, sort of confused and fearful at once. Yeah, better be afraid. What the? Because it's a fairy ring? That's what a circle of information... Formation of mushrooms is called. I'm always gonna scream. Every time I stumble over words. Oh my god. I'm trying so hard not to make this a thing. Whatever. He stalked back inside, leaving me by the broken fairy ring. I don't know how I'm gonna do the other voices, because with Spencer, I'm not taking his voice seriously. And there's other male, characters, and I'm just here like, how the hell am I gonna do their voices? It's just like, what if I forget what voice I gave them? I don't know. Oh my god, this is gonna be interesting. Okay, I already feel like the mom still sound like Nora. I'm trying to like change her voice. I'm not good at this. I looked down at the crumpled mushrooms lying in broken bits on the grass. They'd grow back. It was stupid to care. I hated seeing something pretty messed up for a stupid reason. I hated that he had to ruin everything like some kind of creepy assassin of joy. I shoved my hands in my pockets and headed back inside. There was a quiet row of dry leaves behind me, and I glanced back. There was nothing there. Probably a squirrel or something. Casting one last glance at the fairy ring, I stepped back into the kitchen, prepared for a list of chores to complete before dinner. I was just glad Dad was already talking about ordering pizza instead of, trying to cook. That night I had a vivid dream. In it was the sense I was looking for something, and that I had to find my way home. There were tall trees draped in emerald moss and groping branches that reached to the sun. There was a faint singing, childish voices whose words I couldn't make out. It was a dream that left the taste and smell of warm, wet earth in my mouth as I woke. The smell quickly faded and was replaced by that of bacon and eggs as sunlight warmed my eyelids, beckoning me to wake up. I rolled over and snuggled deep into my blankets. Mom was already up. I could hear her downstairs talking to Dad as she cooked breakfast. The prickle of sunlight against my eyelids coaxed me out of sleep and warmed my face. Nora, I know you want to sleep in, but we still have a lot of unpacking to do. I'm up. Sort of. The last remnants of my dream faded as I staggered out of bed and to my closet to rummage for something to wear. It was a dream I had many nights, though not for a while. With that sense of having to get home, I assumed it was a dream from when I had gotten lost in the woods. From when I gotten spirited away, as my grandmother always called it. Being back must have been dredging up some of the old feelings from back then. I glanced toward my half-open curtains. It looks a bit chilly this morning. I should probably find something warm. This far north, it always felt like summer simply stopped abruptly, giving way to instant autumn. Yesterday, when we had arrived, it had been sunny with a hint of chill, but I was betting the mornings were pretty cold. Hey, Mom says to stop fooling around and get your butt downstairs! What does he have to say with a dead face? He's just so unimpressed. I nearly jumped out of my skin when he just walked into my room. In response, I snatched a stray sock and threw it his way. I'm getting dressed, you creep! Then shut the door! Fine! I marched across the room to slam the door in Spencer's face. I threw my clothes on and wrangled my curly hair into some semblance of a ponytail. Not exactly the height of stylishness, but we still had unpacking to do, and Mom could be a slave driver. Function over fashion, or whatever. I got downstairs in time to see Mom setting out the plates. First breakfast in the new house. Wow, you really went all out. Bacon, eggs, even pancakes, and glorious, glorious coffee. Dad walked by, munching on something, and Mom scowled at him. Sit at the table if you want to eat.
Too busy.
He reached for another piece of bacon, but she slapped his hand. He just grinned at her. He has big ears. It just sticks out of his head. As soon as she turned away, he grabbed the bacon and shoved it in his mouth, then fled the room. I rolled my eyes at them and was about to sit when Mom yanked my breakfast away ruthlessly. What? She pointed to several garbage bags and a box by the door. You said you'd take them out last night, and didn't. The bags go to the bins out front, and the box goes to the tool shed out back. Both of them before breakfast. Mom, I'm hungry. I crave sustenance. I made sad whining noises and pawed at her for my plate. She wasn't buying it. Spencer swung by the table and took my plate out of her hand, snatching a slice of bacon off of it and shoving it in his mouth. Wow, bitch, wanna fight? Get your own damn bacon. Like father, like son. Thanks, Mom. Looks delicious. That's mine, just so you know. He settled past me, holding the plate just out of reach. There's plenty of food. Take the trash out, then you can eat. You're so mean, all of you. It was useless to argue. I already knew that. I sighed and trudged to the door, fumbling with a pair of flip-flops there before picking my poison and heading out. Now, for the other two routes that I picked, I always took the backs to the bins out front, so I kind of like already know which characters we'll be meeting and what happened there. Of course, if you haven't played this game before or seen others play, then you probably don't know. But I want to try and like... I'm always curious about this one because I always pick this. So it's like, let's take the box to the backyard. I hope you know that this is cruel and unusual punishment. It's not punishment, just fulfilling obligations. Cruel. I barely got the last word in before the door slammed shut. She was big about obligations and responsibilities, but it wasn't too bad, I guess. Dad was way worse. I wrangled the box back to the tool shed at the far corner of the backyard. What's even in this thing? It must have been tools and stuff since it was heading to the shed. Mom should seriously just get rid of them anyway. Dad was a menace with anything sharp or connected to a power source. He was a businessman to the core, but a handyman? Not so much. Disaster always ensued the moment he got his hands on tools. I waded through the weeds to the tool shed, noting that all the flower beds were still were still full of wilted bulbs. It needed some major cleanup. I glanced at the fairing when I passed it. New mushrooms had already popped up to replace the ones Spencer kicked over. It always impressed me how fast those things could grow. I smiled to myself. The shed was bolted shut, and I wonder if anyone had even tried to open it yet. If there are spiders in there, I would definitely scream. I set the box down and looked all around the bolt to check for creepy crawlies, especially those huge intimidating orb weavers. A door slammed at the next house over. Why did I have trouble with that? I glanced over instinctively, but of course the privacy fence blocked my view. Regardless, it was impossible to avoid eavesdropping on what seemed to be two young guys talking. Oh, I don't know who's talking. I don't know who's talking. It's always gonna be like this. I'm always gonna freak out the moment I have to start voicing like the potential male characters, because it's just like, I don't know who's talking. I don't know how they look. Oh gosh. It's not gonna be good. I'm literally probably gonna sound the same. Oh my god. This is horrible. Okay. I'm just dying already. I'm just dying. Did you have to drag me out of bed so early for this? I was up half the night. Ugh, that was horrible. That was horrible! Wait, who's this? Is this someone else? I don't... Oh, well, they have the word exercise, so... Come on, it's jock. What kind of typical jock voice? Typical jock voice could I do? Damn, I feel like I should have prepared my voice before. Like, jeez. You're always up half the night. Come on, exercise is good for you, and you asked me to help you with this. Fuck. I hate this so much. I hate this! Oh god, okay. My voice. I need to really straighten my voice. I need to try. I know. It sounds the same. It's just me pep talking. I need to try. Sound the same in the end. Oh my god. Two guys for sure. Yeah, two guys that probably sound the same. One had a deep, warm voice. Oh. No! That would have been nice to know. Okay, so one had a deep, warm voice. The other just sounded half asleep. Okay, half asleep. How do you sound half asleep? No, I know. Do a drowsy voice and a deep, warm voice. Hopefully he doesn't end up sounding like the dad. I smiled as I finally slid the bolt over and shoved the door open. It sounded like two high schoolers, maybe around my age. I quickly dropped the box off to one side and stepped out of the shed before some gross, creepy crawly got on me. Is this a jock? You're not. Oh fuck! What was that? I felt like I was. I felt like I was ready to sound out. God, I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed just trying horribly to attempt male voices. Oh my god. Okay. You know, with your skills, you should be great at this, so I'm not gonna take it easy on you. What the hell is this? Hey, careful. There's no way I'm a match for your crazy. Just catch! Ugh! Oh shit, how did it hit her? How did it hit her? Wait, how did that hit her? I wasn't quite sure what had just happened. I just stepped out of the shed and suddenly I was on the ground seeing stars and trying to figure out what had just bounced off my head. How bad was his aim? What? It had looked facially football shaped, but who the heck throws like that? Oh my god, are you okay? I blinked rapidly and looked around. Okay, now I'm hearing voices descend from the sky. I probably have brain damage. Up here! Oh, right. Someone was peering at me over the top of the wooden fence. How did he manage to throw the ball at her? Oh my god. Don't move, okay? I'm coming over. Lots of rustling and suspicious movements later, and a huge dark-haired guy swung over a tree branch and into my yard. Wow. Maybe it was just a blurred vision, but he was quite good looking. Oh my god, this is like every typical romance. Get hit in the head and then meet the love of your life. Before I know it, Mr. Tall, Dark, and Attractive was kneeling over... Tall, Dark, and Attractive was kneeling over me with a worried look on his face. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize anyone would be back here and well... My friend was supposed to catch that. He, missed. He does not look impressed. Oh, it's a half drowsy, How do I have a sleepy guy? Will he be still sounding sleepy at this point? Oh god, what kind of voice would he have? I'm trying hard. With his voice, I have no idea if I just sound the same, but I'm trying. Oh my god, I hate this. Oh. I might as well just give them ridiculous voices and hope that I don't forget what kind of voice I did, because I don't want them all to sound the same. Oh my god. Are you okay? That was horrible. It's me over here like, I really am trying! And then sound like I'm not even trying at all. I felt hands on my face as the boy tried to brush my bangs aside to get a look at my forehead. My cheeks instantly heated up. I made a feeble attempt to push his hands away as they grazed a painful bump forming. I'm fine, seriously. I mean, you have a really good arm, but the stars and little birdies are fading, so I think I'll be fine. He gave me a really sweet, apologetic smile. Should we go for him? Like, even though he's like the first dude to show up, should we just like try and go for him? This is definitely not how I plan to meet the new neighbors. Was that the voice? Kind of forgot already. I'm trying to do like a deep kind of rough voice, but like not the dad's voice at the same time. He stood and offered me a hand, which I took to pull myself up. Well, there are worse ways to make an unforgettable first impression. Then again, given the size of the lump on my head, I may well forget this whole thing in a few minutes anyway. No, he looks worried. You're just like, oh no, what? I'm kidding. Why would you tease him like that? He looked really scared. He's just like, oh shit, what? He breathed an almost comical sigh of relief. Is that still him? I think that's still him. Wait, is it him or was it? I don't know. Okay. Short of driving my car into your house, I can't imagine how this could get much worse. I'm Danny, by the way. And are you really okay? Why did I made him sound like kind of stoner? I don't know. That to me, like just after that, I'm like, it kind of sounds like a stoner. To me, like, I'm sticking with that. I'm sticking with that. That's his unique voice, as unique as I can make it. Hopefully I don't forget. Nora, nice to meet you. And yes, I suspect the brain damage will be minimal. I'm really sorry. Fuck this dude. He's just on the other side of the fence. Hello. He's just trying to do the fucking Adele thing. Hello, everything okay over there? I'm trying not to make him sound like Danny. Oh, he's so cute. He's one of the route I did. Another head popped over the fence, this one belonging to a pale, purple-haired boy, definitely the sleepyhead. Oh, hello there. This is my friend Elliot, though most people just call him Waltzy. He was supposed to catch that. I smirked up at the boy dangling over the fence. They're both cute. Aw, I think we should go with Danny. Like, I know there's like, I think there was like 6 other love interests. But you know what? We're gonna go with him. Because he's cute. He hit us in the head. And it's like the stereotypical romance comedy, like you get hit in the head and then you meet the love of your life. We're gonna go with that. That's the love story of this story. Good job. He turned the smirk with a silly grin. Oh my god. I'm always gonna just be like, oh no. How do we sound tired? Like, cause he's the sleepy one, so it's like drowsy. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm always gonna say that. I'm always gonna be like, oh my god. Hey, playing catch with a quarterback this morning was not my idea. I'm sorry though. You have a huge bump on your head. I touched my forehead and winced. I'll stick with that. Hopefully I don't forget doing that. I don't know how it sounds like. To me, I think I sound decent. I don't know if in the end I'm just literally gonna sound the same with no difference. Yeah, that might need some ice. With luck, it will get me out of With luck, it will get me out of unhelping unpack the kitchen. Hi, my name's Nora. I don't know how to talk because I got smacked in the head with a football. They both laughed. Well, we try to be helpful. Next time, could you just pretend to bounce the ball off my head? I'm really sorry. I said it's okay. I still feel bad though. It's fine, I'll live with minimal brain damage. Most likely. We both looked at the purple-haired guy who was still peering down on us from the fence. He's just like, okay, lovebirds, are you done? So, not to interrupt, but I was just wondering. I mean, I guess you'll be starting school around here soon? Yeah, on Monday. We're both seniors at Stone Circle Academy, you? Oh, cool! My brother and I are seniors too. We'll be starting there on Monday. That's where we went before we moved. Nice. You used to live here? A few years ago, yeah. We're moving back to be closer to my grandparents. Gotcha. So you and your brother are like the same grade? Twins, you lucked out though. I'm the good one. Spencer's evil. You'll... What the hell, Nora? You're supposed to be helping out, not flirting with the locals. Yes. Great timing, as always. Finish up out there and get back inside. Mom's looking for you. I glared at the house as Spencer's head of urban curls vanished back into the kitchen. See? Evil. Sorry to interrupt. Fuck. I'm just gonna be screaming. Hi, my name's Sid, and I constantly scream as I stumble over words. Sorry to interrupt your unpacking with flirting, especially when it entails nearly knocking you unconscious. I'll make it up to you sometime. It's not a big deal, though. I wouldn't object if you aimed for my brother's head next time instead. I mean, since you like being so helpful. I'll try. It was nice to meet you. Elliot, right? Yep, I guess I'll see you on Monday. Yeah. He vanished behind the fence again, leaving me alone with Danny. Mind if I go through the gate on my way out? Yeah, no problem. I showed him the way, then went back inside for a nice pack and breakfast. Mom spent a few minutes fussing over my head before setting my plate down in front of me and giving me the long list of chores I had to complete. God, Mom, I was hit in the head with a football, and you're just like, here's a list of chores you gotta do. It was going to be a long, long day. Wait, didn't we have school? I thought we had class. Was that tomorrow? Chapter 2. Common Road. Stone Circle Academy. Well, I'm gonna end it here. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here and continue on in the next video. If you enjoyed it so far and found me struggling over words and voice acting to be hilarious, then hit the like button and please subscribe to see more if this interests you. I did not introduce myself at first, so hi, I'm Sid. Player Sid. That's what I go by on YouTube. You can see it in my name. Okay, so yeah, this has been Changeling by Steamberry Studios. It's very fun. The art is very, like, pretty and different, and I love it. Like, it's really interesting. Like, again, I've played 2 routes already. Elliot, the one we met, I've done his, so I know his side of the story. And then there's another character who we'll meet soon enough. But I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil the story. I'm just gonna keep quiet and pretend I know nothing. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Maybe. If you're interested. I hope I can see you next time. Yeah, stay cool.